Hi, welcome back to another session of Forms of Business Organization. And today we shall continue with joint stock companies and also what are the different types of companies and what is the bifurcation and how does it go about making these companies. Okay, companies is a very interesting subject which will go on. You at a later stage in accounts also you have got company accounts which you have to deal with. So let us understand all these things in a little bit of depth so that it is easier for us when we come close to doing certain practical aspects of these subjects. So first, what are the types of companies? Okay, a company can be divided either into a public or a private company. Okay, public or private company. First, let us understand what is the meaning of the word private company. Okay, the definition for you under section 3(1) subsection 3 of the Companies Act 2013 describes a private company as a company which has got the following distinctive features. Okay, so let us understand what are the distinctive features which we come to know it's different from a public company. Number one, it can be established with minimum 2 and a maximum of 50 shareholders. Okay, so only 2 people are necessary to start and they can have a maximum of 50 shareholders. They cannot exceed 50 shareholders. Okay, it must use the word private limited, okay, after the name of the company. For example, if you're talking about a company called Refresh Life. So it's Refresh Life Private Limited. Okay, so the words private limited has to come along with that, where we come to know that this company is a private limited company. Okay, it must have a minimum paid up capital of rupees 1 lakh or a higher amount, but 1 lakh is a compulsion which may be prescribed from time to time. Okay, so 1 lakh has to be there. The minimum amount of capital has to be 1 lakh. Now, where does it get its funds from? It gets its funds only from the shareholders. Okay, it restricts the shareholders' rights to transfer the shares to the outsiders. So, in this form of company, you cannot transfer the shares easily to the outsiders, and also that it cannot interact with the outsiders like buying and selling of shares from outsiders. It remains within the people who have purchased it. Okay, so this is a private limited company for you or a private company for you. From there, let us shift our base to public company. Section 3, 1, subsection 4 of the Companies Act 2013 describes a public limited company as one which has got a minimum paid up capital of 5 lakhs or a higher amount as prescribed. So in case of a private it was 1 lakh, in case of a public it is 5 lakh. It has minimum 7 members, there it was 2, and there is no limit to the higher end. The maximum number of members is unlimited. So it has a minimum of 7 members and there is no limit on the maximum number of members. Then it has got no restrictions on the transfer of shares. Anyone can transfer to anyone, okay, to your friend, to you. It's basically whatever price it's going on, you can sell your shares, you can buy it from others also, okay. And they can invite the public to subscribe its share capital or public deposit. So if it requires capital and it goes through all the formalities properly, that is, it has got the permissions of SEBI and it has got the permissions from the government, okay, then it can go ahead and it can take money from the public and issue shares to them. Okay, now since we spoke about private company and since we spoke about public company, let's now understand what is the difference between these two. Okay, first of all, commencement of business. We take the first feature as commencement of business. So here The business can be started as soon as the certificate of incorporation is issued, but in case of a public limited, it has to get a certificate of commencement. Only then it can commence. Also, as far as the name is concerned, which we didn't discuss first, name, the private limited has to be there after the name, and here public limited will follow after the name. The number of shareholders in case of private, minimum 2, maximum 50, while as in case of public we just discussed minimum 7 and maximum there is no limit at all. Okay, what about the next basis? Invitation to the public. When we invite the public, the private company does not need to invite the public. They will only invite people who are very close to them, because they do not want the outsiders to get into their business. While as in case of public company, they do invite the outsiders to subscribe to their shares, so that they get the requisite share capital. Legal formalities in relation to issue of shares. There are no legal formalities for private companies. Yes, for the public companies there are legal formalities. It has to issue a prospectus, and in the prospectus it has to give the full details about what it is going to do, why it requires the capital, and who are its bankers. Every possible detail it requires, because this has been specified by the SEBI. And why it has been specified? Because years ahead, before even the SEBI was formed, there were a lot of frauds which took place, and the investors lost a lot of their money. Okay, so this was in regard to issue of share capital. What is the minimum paid up capital? The minimum paid up capital for a private limited company is 1 lakh, and that for a public limited company is 5 lakhs. Okay, the minimum number of directors for a private is 2. For a public, it is minimum is 3. Okay, quorum, there has to be at least 2 people present in the general meeting in a private limited company, while as in case of a public limited company, if you want some decision to be passed, there should be at least 5 members should be present in the general meeting. Okay, a managerial remuneration, no managerial remuneration in case of a private company, but in case of a public company there is managerial remuneration, and it cannot exceed 11% of the net profit. Okay, an index or a register to be maintained, private does not need to maintain, while as a public public company has to maintain a register, whereby which it will make a list of all its shareholders, the people who have subscribed their share, and so on. So what we did today was, so far we went through what is a private company, we went through what is a public company, and then we compared these two forms. Okay, so there is where we come to know that what are the formalities required for a private limited and for a public limited company. Now, the next topic of discussion is which form of business would you choose? So far, what we did sole proprietorship, we did cooperative, we did joint stock company, we did partnership, and we did the joint Hindu family business. So the matter of choice would be actually up to the person who is going to do, and he is comfortable doing with it. It also depends upon how much capital he wants, and whether he can easily start off the business or no, or he wants to set up a huge business, and the formalities are more, but he doesn't mind going through all of them simply for the fact that he wants to expand and he wants to grow. Okay, so let us see. First, we'll compare these 5 forms of business organization on the basis of the choices which is given to them. Then we'll come to know that which one is better than the other. Formation. For a sole proprietorship, there is no formalities. Cooperatives need to follow the formalities. In fact, they are under the Cooperatives Act of 1912. Joint stock companies also need to follow, and in fact the procedure in case of joint stock company is a little bit too vast because they have to comply with many, sections and subsections. Okay. Partnership, no legal formality, ease of formation. You can have a oral partnership deed, you can have a written partnership, but always, as I suggest, a written partnership deed is much better. Even in case of a joint Hindu family business, it is easy to start off. So on the basis of formation, you can tell that a joint stock company has got more legal formalities to start off as compared to the other forms of business. Okay, now we talk about registration as the next basis of decision. Sole proprietorship, no registration required. For a cooperative society, registration is required, it's a must. Joint stock company is a must. Partnership, it is an option, okay, whether or not you want to register or no. If you don't register, then you go as per the Indian Partnership Act 1932, okay. And again, in case of a joint Hindu family business, the registration is optional because the person born as a son, in case of Mitakshara form of business, joint Hindu family business, that person automatically becomes a member. Okay, so that was about registration and formation for you. These were the 2 points of basis which we discussed. Then cost. Sole proprietorship is most inexpensive. Anyone can start a small business and they can start it off very immediately. They do not need to go through so many formalities as in case of a joint stock company. Plus, if it is a public company, then they have to further, wait for the certificate of commencement. Okay. In case of cooperative societies also, the cost formation is very less. Partnership also, there is no high cost involved, and even in case of joint Hindu family, there is no high cost involved. Okay, the most expensive again is a joint stock company, simply because the amount of capital it is going to borrow, the amount of capital it's going to invest into the business is huge. So the formality requirements are also much more, because the money of the investors, the money of the shareholders have to be safeguarded. So they see to it that the formalities are followed properly. Okay, what are the number of members in case of a sole proprietorship? 1 in case of cooperative, it is minimum is 10, maximum is no limit. In case of joint stock, 2 for private and 2 for private minimum and 7 maximum. In case of public limited company, 50 is required. In case of public, 7 is required as a minimum and the upper limit is unlimited. Okay. Let's go to a partnership, 2 or more. In case of banking, it is the limit is 10. In case of other business, other forms of partnership, it is 20. Okay. A joint Hindu family, minimum is 2, maximum is no limit at all. Okay. So this was the number of members. Now let us see the scale of operation. The scale of operation of a sole proprietorship is limited. Okay, it's not much. Okay, while as cooperative, it is small, but it's way larger than what you compare with the sole proprietorship. A joint stock company is absolutely huge, so it's good for large scale operations. While as when we talk about partnership also, the capital is not as huge as we compare to a joint stock company. Okay, and again, joint Hindu family businesses also, the capital is not as huge as we think. The most amount of capital which is required is by a joint stock company. Okay, so let's come to the next basis, that is liability. Sole proprietorship unlimited, cooperatives limited, joint stock company limited. In case of partnership, unlimited. In case of joint Hindu family, the karta has got unlimited, while as the other members they have got limited. Okay, so of course in this way a joint stock company is good because the liability which is concerned is very very less. Okay. Now I come to the continuity. This depends upon the sole proprietor. If he is alive, the business goes on, or it will stop there. Here, members, they can join, they can leave in case of a cooperative. In case of joint stock company shareholders, so it depends all on the shareholders. But what happens if one sells, the other buys? In case of partnership, it depends upon the partners for the continuity. If they need to continue for a long period of time, they shall continue. In case of joint Hindu family, on the death of a Karta, the other elder member in the Hindu family will assume this, so it is not a problem there. Then also it depends upon the mutual understanding in the family whether they want to continue this form of business or no. The legal status, sole proprietorship and the sole proprietor are the same people because they go hand in hand. In case of cooperative society, there is a separate legal entity because it's registered under the Cooperatives Societies Act of 1912. Joint stock company is also a separate entity. Partnership is no separate entity because the partners and they are linked together. While as in case of joint Hindu family business, it is a separate legal entity. Okay. Going into the next point of discussion, that is decision making. Sole proprietor makes a decision on his own. Okay, so he can have the secrets also kept by himself. Cooperative societies, they have a democratic way of doing this. Joint stock companies, it's usually the directors who take the decision and then they get the approval. In case of partners, it is mutual consent. In case of joint Hindu family, they have to listen to the Karta. Okay, so this is the different decision making in different forms of business. Resources, sole proprietor doesn't have that much of resources. Cooperative society has got much more resources as compared to a sole proprietorship. The joint stock company has got the most resources in case of financial as well as human resources. Partners resources is more than the sole proprietor, but it's less than a joint stock company, while as joint Hindu family business, the resources are also limited. The degree of control, if you see, the degree of control is greatest with the sole proprietor, with the joint Hindu family, and also the partners. While as in case of a cooperative society and joint stock company, there will be a voting which is done, and this will be as per the majority. Whoever votes, that they will be assuming the control. Okay, those who usually are the promoters in case of joint stock company, who have started the company initially, are the people who will run the company. Okay, sharing of profits, the sole proprietor, the profits goes to him. In case of a cooperative, it will be distributed depending upon the number of shares. In case of joint stock also, a part of the profit is kept aside, a part of the profit is given to the shareholders as dividend. Partners, depending upon the ratio at which they agree, if there is no partnership deed, then it is equal. Joint Hindu family will be based on the understanding. Okay, and coming to business secrecy, in case of sole proprietorship, since it is one person only, he will be having complete secrecy. Cooperative society, there are many people, so there won't be secrecy levels won't be high. Joint stock company also, the secrecy levels won't be high. But in case of partnership business and in joint Hindu family business, there is going to be a lot of amount of secrecy. Okay, so these were certain points which you have to take into consideration when you think of starting any form of business. And it is useful that you take these points into consideration. If you take this point into consideration, there won't be any problems in regard to this. Okay, these are some points which you need to know before you go to venture into other parts of this particular chapter. So what we did so far, let us have a brief recap about what we did so far. So the The first thing what we did today was a private company. Okay, we studied what are the features. We studied what are the features of a public company. Okay, and then we compared both of them. After comparing both of them, we went to which form of business should we choose, and we had a variety of choice. Now, it basically depends on one important factor, that is capital. How you want to use your capital, how you want to go about increasing your business will all depend upon you. Okay, I end this session here with the hope that you have understood the concepts which have been put forward by me. In case of any difficulties, please revert back. I enjoyed putting the session forward to you. This is Vishwanath Jatan signing off. Thank you so much.